What is up, Marvel Snap fans? It's been a little while since I did a Marvel Snap video. Wanted to check out a new featured location here, Plunder Castle, and see how that plays out, see how that feels in the new meta. Now we've seen recent patch changes, we've seen Leader get nerfed, now kind of being more precision card that can still counter what your enemy's playing, but in general isn't going to be nearly as effective just because you can't predict the future, you know? So I think in general, we're going to be seeing a lot less of the kind of standard metagame cards like Zabu and Silver Surfer in Plunder Castle because it explicitly says you can only play 6-cost cards. It's not just only playing there on turn 6, it's making sure that you actually are playing a card that costs 6. Even Wave can ruin Plunder Castle. I think there's even an argument you can make like a deck like Claw and Nightcrawler and stuff like that, and then just wave on turn 5 and make it so that it's impossible to play as Plunder Castle. That being said, I think there are cards like Vision that will create issues there. What I'm going to be running today, or at least trying out for the beginning of the video, is going to be a Destroyer deck. There's a few different versions of this that I've seen out there. Captain America instead of cards like Sandman. I don't think Sandman's that effective since if the enemy's playing Plunder Castle with a 6-mana card, then they're not really playing anything. Then it means Sandman's really only affecting turn 5, which isn't really a big deal. I also tried an Electro version earlier. It's interesting because you can like spike out Professor X pretty early, but you miss your Warpath turn, and I feel like that's pretty important too. Lots of different options, lots of different ways to play it out, but I'm gonna try this one and see how it goes. So, starting things off, rank 74, just been playing around a lot of different options and keeping the quest rolling to continue to build that collection level up. But Plunder Castle does show up here in game number 1, and yeah, we'll end up playing there with most likely Destroyer since we have both Armor and X in hand. First things first, we're hoping that we get first play, but even then, Nova dying this turn doesn't matter that much because it's just going to, it's not going to buff anything. So we go ahead and armor up Nova. These cards are stuck in this position. They're not going to be killed off by Killmonger or really anything at this point. I would expect Killmonger is in this guy's deck though. From there, we have to kind of figure out what we want to do. I would say Ant-Man Lizard is not too shabby. We want to try to play as much as we can before Adeline comes into play because that's going to be taking a lot of our cards away. So yeah, we'll go ahead, we'll snap it up. If he doesn't have a bunch of cards on right, then I think we're very comfortable just putting a lot in that space. The one weakness of playing 2 to the right is that Warpath won't be able to come into play unless we just play Destroyer on one of these 2 lanes, which we just might. We don't necessarily have to play Plunder Castle just because we're the strongest there. I mean, Destroyer will win that one, but if we have Warpath in one of these 2 lanes, maybe we just want to prioritize that. Go ahead and play Cosmo here. It'll disincentivize further play from any reveal cards, and if he punish those cards as well. So like for example, he's tried to storm it, that's not going to work out for him. And now we'll just have to see what we're doing. I would say Claw is going to be a nice way to go about it. It doesn't, however, fill out the Ant-Man side of things. So like, if I wanted to do Captain America, that would give me the +3 from Ant-Man and +6 from Captain America. So 9 damage on right, as opposed to 4 damage on left and 6 damage on right. More net value out of this one overall. And does force him to play at 2 locations, like basically try to catch up all across the board. I think both are viable plays, but I'm not too sure. Because like if he doesn't play Plunder Castle at all, if he just kind of assumes that he's going to lose it, then he's just can dump some really big cards into the 2 lanes. So I feel like this is actually going to be a better play. And this will allow me to cover both. I probably wouldn't have thought about it nearly as much if he didn't have Daredevil, but because he is seeing my play and being able to play around it, I just want to kind of keep all the different factors under consideration. So we're in a pretty good spot here because he actually played something in middle. He's not really going to easily be able to get 10 damage on right, and I can just go ahead and drop Destroyer out and clearly win left lane. So let's see what happens. He goes for Odin, which is not going to cut it. I think that Odin is one of the weaker 6-drops. Almost all of them are going to be doing, even Chavez does more than 8 damage. So I don't really see that working out in almost any case. I'm actually curious what he would have even Odin'd, because of the 4 cards he played, none of them are reveal effects you need to play twice. Very interesting. Yeah, I don't know what that was about, but we'll take the win. I guess we overthought things a little bit, but better than underthinking, I suppose. Limbo, 7-turn game, so it's 2 6-drops, perfect for my current hand. If we can just get a little bit of early game action, a 1 or a 2-drop on our next draw, I'll feel pretty comfortable with that. But we're still sitting with all the heavy stuff. May cause us to look back at our other card options. It's possible that we could even, in theory, run, what's his name, Ebony Maw here. He is an ongoing card that's buffed by Spectrum. But yeah, kind of awkward in this position, I'd say. Question is, where do we want Cosmo? Since we're going to be playing him this turn, Nokoi's already out here. I imagine we're looking at most likely a Black Panther deck, so we could probably play this Cosmo over on the left side. See what happens. He plays first, he gets Lockjaw, and now he's not going to be able to get the reveal effects from anything he drops. He can still drop Wasp and stuff like that in there, but I think it's kind of nice to not have to worry about half of that. I think I'm going to end up destroying left side, so we can just go ahead and Warpath right and put some emphasis into that. He ends up just going for the Jubilee reveal effect in mid, which is okay. Ends up getting Leech, which is actually good for Destroyer. Unfortunate for Claw. All these are just the yellow value you see here. This is a 3 damage card, this is a 5 damage card, and none of the other details really matter. So Claw, for example, left won't actually do much for middle. And Colossus can't survive Death's Domain. So overall, giving him a free Death's Domain is a pretty sweet deal on his side of things, I imagine. But we can still play a couple of cards here and feel good about that. Now we have to remember it's a 7 damage game. What does that change? We're playing Destroyer here. Spectrum's not doing anything. It's a little rough, honestly. I'm not too sure. I think we still are going to play Destroyer here. But I probably want to play something better than Colossus on right. So I'm going to play Colossus on left. And we'll leave it at that. Ends up getting an Infinite, getting his Thor out, which means he can play Mjolnir into Lockjaw potentially. It doesn't work with the reveal, I guess, because Cosmo, so that's not too big a deal. But yeah, so far not so great. The free Infinite on his side is pretty punishing, I would say. Anytime you can cheat that out is going to be a pretty guaranteed win, and we'll take the retreat on that one. Pretty fortunate for him. I mean, he had, I guess, just 3 cards in his deck at the time, before Mjolnir, but before the card draw and before Mjolnir came in. So, you know, not too bad from his side. But I would say a little lucky. I think if anything but Infinite comes out there, then we're going to be fine. And it just works out that way. It's no big deal. Go ahead and drop Ant-Man in middle. We could be worried about like the thing that silences ongoing cards, or one of those locations. There's plenty of negatives out there, but New York's not that big of a deal. Though generally speaking, you're going to want to play anywhere but New York, and then figure it out from there. So I think he just discarded Sentinel with Colleen Wing, which is kind of curious. And now we don't have access to a lot of the cards that we normally would be playing with. Mr. Fantastic is still a great card. We'll keep him middle for obvious reasons. But I think I'm going to have to Professor X middle lane, and then see what we can do with one of the other lanes after that. No discarded cards. Yeah, the real question is, do we Captain America here? Or do we just like armor and then Professor X? I think he's still going to keep away from New York regardless, so I think we're okay to play armor, and that'll save Captain America for a different lane. Loses if we get to a tiebreaker situation, but we'll go with it. See what we can do. That might change the math. That actually is interesting, because that... I mean, it still means, like, this is one lane... yeah, I don't really think it makes any difference. This just means he can't play anything there, or move anything there. And this means that he might move stuff there, and we'll fight over it, and see what the math looks like. Because this is just an 8 damage card at the end of the day. He can still move any of his big cards, including like a Darkhawk, into that position. So, curious if he actually did get Darkhawk. He'll have to play that pretty soon, maybe just on turn 6. Is it Absorbing Man? No, he can't afford it mana-wise, so it's just a M'Baku. Came from District X. Okay. So he knows we're fighting for left lane, and he probably knows that we can't win it. This is going to be 6 damage plus 9. Those 3, so that's pretty weak. So we'll go ahead and retreat on that one. Not the best. Overall, I'm trying to see what I would attribute that to. I would say, obviously, like, my oomph turns are going to be turn 5 and 6 with, in particular, Destroyer. And so lacking that kind of final play, I think, is probably what it comes down to. District X just hurting me a bit. Yeah, what I kind of want to be doing is stacking left lane and having Claw there. And that way we're just putting a lot of damage in there. Claw by himself on a lane is not doing too much for putting pressure out, only 4 damage on the lane he's in. So yeah, I look more to... just in case he's playing here, I think we can do this. Just do Captain America Claw and then Destroyer and feel pretty comfortable with that. And hopefully Cosmo disrupts a little bit of what he's trying to do. Just Sabu for right now. So he gets the rock. This fills up a lot of his board. And puts me in a position where I can just, I think, win just on Professor X alone. So we'll go snap this. I don't think he's going to be able to do too much here. He could Spider-Man it, which would be annoying for me. Otherwise, he's probably just going to be playing like his Moon Girl Jubilee on right side, more likely than anything. We'll see. White Queen sees the Spectrum or sees the Destroyer, but not both. There's the Moon Girl as well, which will give him 2 copies of the same thing. Not that that matters too much. So at this point, yeah, we definitely Professor X, and I think that no matter what 2/4 drops he plays, it's unlikely he's going to be able to take Eternity Range off the bat. Darkhawk obviously being one of the higher power 4-cost cards. Dinosaur coming out is not bad, but if he plays... so as long as he plays only 1 card, he's actually golden. Ouch. Okay, I can Spectrum there, but assuming that he plays Spectrum or Destroyer, then he's going to win in that position too. Awkward across the board. I really don't know if there's any play we can make that'll win this, because we're guaranteed to lose. It looks like all 3 lanes without a play, and Destroyer's only going to make up for 1 of them. So, Devil Dinosaur ends up working out just with the full hand. Pretty high output card. And I don't see an out, so we're going to go ahead and close this one off. That's one thing with Professor X, is he just needs to have that damage advantage, and you know, you look like you're in a good position there, but if he gets to 5 mana, then it's not going to work out. That's where I would have loved to have Electro. If I didn't have Captain America, I had Electro on the deck instead. You play Electro on turn 3, play Professor X on turn 4. That's going to be way before he really gets enough momentum underneath his feet. Already getting a really good discard from Blade. Definitely concerning. Outright looking like a bad game, but we'll have to see. Board is going to be very full as well. That makes it very difficult to play on left with anything but the Hela. Means that Warpath as well is going to be a limiting factor, I'd say. What I really want is to ignore Morag entirely and play like Warpath here and then Destroyer here. But the problem is then these cards would be vulnerable, right? So it really has to be like Warpath and either Professor X or Armor in this position. and that'll kind of help out. Warpath is probably... Nope, Blizzard's gone. I don't mind that. And yeah, we'll Warpath, and we're hoping to get either Professor X or Armor next turn, which is 2 out of 5. Pretty likely, I would say. But that Dracula's pretty strong. And we just get the Claw. Claw's not bad. I don't mind it. The problem is, really comes down to what cards he's discarded. I saw the Infinite. I'm trying to think of what else he took off the table here. I should pay more attention to that for sure. He's clearly just running a lot of big cards. He's pretty comfortable. He's got at least an Infinite somewhere. Like, he could just easily play Ghost Rider and win middle lane, right? So I'd say with I'm going to respect the snap here and assume that he can play something of pretty high value, because Spectrum on right is not going to cut it, I don't think. It really comes down, obviously, to what that Dracula card pulls. He's got 3 cards in hand. He's already gotten potentially 2 really good discards. I'm out. I played enough discard to know that once it gets rolling, it's one of... If it rolls high, like, it's probably one of the most unbeatable decks, and it just comes down to getting which game and which opponent gets those discards. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, of course. So we'll go ahead, chill out here. I think I might switch over to the Electro option here in a bit. I'm just seeing a lot of early dead draws, and that means I need to either play a little bit more 1-drop, or I need to be playing differently. I like Destroyer on left here. Let's go ahead and play Armor on the right for right now. Hopefully it doesn't turn out to be the Plunder Castle. 40% chance for that to be the case. Infinite discard on turn from the Blade again. Really painful. Any way to resurrect that completely screws me over, and of course that's what they're going for, right? So that's a problem, to be sure. But I'm not gonna go off the snap on this one. I'm gonna play this one out a bit more. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, so he's got like a Ghost Rider play coming up. He'll probably Ghost Rider into Warrior Falls, feeling like that means I can't play there. And he's probably right, but yeah, we'll see. Right now we'll stack right side as much as we can, and we'll probably destroy our mid if he... Oh, he's actually going to Ghost Rider right side, because I've already committed damage to it? No, Dracula's out. Hellcow as well. Hitting some pretty weak cards. He's got a lot of Swarm to play, but that's not really a problem, I would say. So if any card I play outside of the bubble is going to get killed off if I play Destroyer, right? Unless I play Colossus here, and Ant-Man here. Actually, Colossus in left is actually kind of cool, because it just kind of chills. And then we could play... Oh, we can't play cards into Hellfire Club. Okay. And I think this is fine. It's not as much damage, but it's fine. I'm not going to snap just yet. I want to see what he has, but so far, not too bad. A couple of Swarm coming down. Morbius and Swarm. Yeah, okay. Not a big deal. He's stacking up mid lane. So he's got the potential to... I think this is the play, actually. Let's just flood this out with anything that I can. If he plays Ghost Rider, all the 3 drops will die, except for Colossus. And I play first, so I'm expecting Ghost Rider as his play and not Hela. If it's Hela, I think I still win because 8 damage here. So yeah, Colossus difference is pretty nice, actually. We'll see what happens. Also, could be setting up a big Dracula. Let's see. He has to play cards, right? He has Zabu. He's got a few cards he can play over this way. I'm kind of hoping that he gets the short end of the stick on Warrior Falls, but it's very possible that's not the case. Yep, so Hela's broken, and Swarm is dead. So we win. Nice. Very happy about that. Yeah, stopping the Infinite is the big deal, and he doesn't... Because he's already got Dracula over on right, he doesn't care to, like, play Ghost Rider or Hela on the right side. He's going to try to play it on left and make sure that he gets something good over here. But the result is we get to Cosmo it, and we get the win. Very nice, 8 cubes. Right back at it. keep on saying I'm going to change the deck. I guess it doesn't matter here because District X is gonna limit our options a bit. Not the most fun location to play. It's like, it's interesting because you have to mesh what you start in your opening hand and maybe 1 or 2 draws with. You basically have to mesh a very small part, like a third or a quarter of your deck, with completely random things and see how it works. But you can get stuff like this that's super annoying because it feels like you can't do anything. I can Wasp in middle, and that's okay, but like, does that mean anything? I don't know. Luke Cage works with Lizard a little bit. It's fine, but like... Bucky Barnes. So, Bucky Barnes is really good in middle because he is... His Winter Soldier doesn't have a card text, so it gets +3. That's only if it can be destroyed, which is not guaranteed. I think this is okay. Still want to probably play Wasp in middle, but we can hold on to that for a bit. See what happens. So he gets Nova Carnage. So he's... I can't tell if the Carnage was, or if the Nova was part of his opening hand, but Carnage is from his deck, and Winter Soldier is from District X, which kind of just seems like RNG. To be able to get a key destroy piece with District X and Washington, D.C. Doesn't feel super fair, but that's how it would be. And the rest of the stuff is pretty standard. Yeah. Puts us in a tough position, no doubt. I would say that Abomination is okay. And then Claw, it's kind of ugly. Abomination's nice in middle because it gets the buff from Washington, D.C. M'Baku coming in. He eats the 0 so that Shuri can play something big on turn 6. Okay. And because he was zeroed, he gets the buff from Washington, D.C. All pretty harrowing, for sure. So at this point, I'm losing on board, almost across the board, and he's got double damage for his next drop. It screams to me that we just can't win this, and we should back off. Yeah, even Claw, like, we have to hope that he moves something out, and then that's going to be in New York. So I think it's very unlikely that he hard stacks so much that this is not going to work out for him. We'll kind of head out the door. District X games. I think I probably put too much thought into District X games. Like, just call it a wash if it looks bad and move on, because that's not really where the strategy lies for the most part. I do think it's kind of insane that he has at least one destroy card in his deck and ends up District Xing out Bucky, but that's how it be. Would have been sweet to armor the Nova Bucky, but didn't work out that way. I don't even know how to pronounce this, but it's a very miserable location to play under. We'll go ahead and make sure that we fill this up as best we can. Atom Warrior, we're going to prevent some card draw here. I was curious what kind of decks want Atom Warrior. It feels like it's the ones that, like, the Exodia ones that want all the pieces, right? And they run a lot of reveal cards, and he has to play here on turn 5, so I think that Cosmo here is definitely going to be in my favor. I don't see any problems with that. I feel good enough to snap, to be honest. I'm curious really what he's going for, but I'm just going to hope he hasn't drawn it, right? If you're going for Atom Warrior, it means you need to draw these pieces, and I'm not going to let him, so feeling okay about that. Yeah, he's out. I think the pieces that he's looking to draw is something that you Moon Girl with Quinjet. That or Mr. Negative I think is great with Atom Warrior, but he doesn't look like a negative deck to me, so yeah, hard to say. Guess we'll never know. EWAR. That's a weird name. New York all day. Feels like that's the featured location more than anything. Under Castle once more. Go ahead and play on right. I think it'll be okay. Cosmo's nice because he's an ongoing card, which is buffed by Spectrum, but he also just mitigates a lot of stuff from your opponent, so I'm happy to play around that. And so far he hasn't played anything. We're going to have momentum, and I'm feeling pretty confident, so go ahead and snap it up. At least force him to commit to the game, instead of like sitting here waiting 3 or 4 turns, watching what's going to happen, and then deciding. Snap on turn 3 feels right, if they're like just not playing anything. Usually it's after turn 3, but with Cosmo here, and the fact that I'm playing first, it might catch him off guard to play a reveal card and have it not work. So that's information that I have that he doesn't yet, and I want to take advantage of that. Yeah, like right now he's not getting a discard that he otherwise would have, because he doesn't want to play in New York, because you can always shuffle cards to the left. And yeah, that just gives us a nice opportunity to shut down basically half the board. He has to play discard cards here now instead. He ends up getting Jubilee out. And Dracula is going to pull from hand, but because he only has a few spots to play on the board, I don't think he's actually going to be able to like force Dracula to give him a certain result, which is pretty cool. Here, I feel like it's probably this as our best option, but it doesn't really matter because Destroyer, I guess this guy's worth what, 4 damage, and this guy's worth 6, so we'll just put him in and then Destroyer middle, and that's totally fine. Because like, it doesn't matter what Dracula discards into, he just doesn't want to play any cards here. Okay, so this is a Zabu deck. Sif, Dracula, Ghost Rider, Jubilee, Crossbones is plus Zabu is a huge part of his deck, and none of it's going to be able to beat this, so GG. You cannot play Shang-Chi here, even if you'd want to, because of the Plunder Castle limitation. That's one thing that's really nice about Plunder Castle is only 6 cards can be played, cost cards can be played here, so you know the entire pool of cards that can be played at that location, and you can play around it. So, I mean, if we just look at it real quick, going to featured, we know for a fact that unless you have something like Vision that's moving into that position, obviously Doctor Doom could play from the outside in, there's stuff like that, Claw can affect it, but it's all like clear on the board. When we get to turn 6, the only cards that can be played there are, you know, Galactus Null, which I think with an Electro deck can be pretty scary, and yeah, that's the big ones. You can Heimdall stuff in. I think that can be kind of throwing people for a loop a little bit. Good surprise factor there. She-Hulk, you actually you almost never can play her there because of the mana discount. So, yeah. Agatha's interesting. I think an Agatha deck could be okay here, because you can just like plan it out to all be like 1 through 5 cost cards, and then you know Agatha on the feature location works out. It just kind of, you just get a deck that plays itself. It could work for sure. But we're not down for that. We're gonna go our own way. I think we could try again the Electro Spike and see kind of how it feels. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. But like, I do wanna see what we have there. So, yeah. Sometimes Electro will just kind of chill there, and you'll be like, why do I have this guy in my deck? He's blocking like 3 different cards I could play. But being able to jump to turn 5, jump to turn 6 is pretty cool too. Swap the position of each location. So this is interesting, because in 2 turns, Jotunheim will have moved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Colossus at Jotunheim, and he will not have to worry about it. And then in, you know, this guy's taking the 50-50. This Scorpion's not going to be sitting in Jotunheim for turn 5 and 6. Alright, Plunder Castle is moving too, though, and that's kind of tricky, because if this is Plunder Castle and he gets to stack it up, I guess it's no different from a normal game. Like, we'll just play 2 lanes and be okay with that. So the question is, do we continue to build in Jotunheim, or do we say, hey, Colossus is cool, let's start building here? I think it's okay to start building here, because Destroyer is... I guess Warpath won't get the buff then, though, right? Interesting. Yeah, so now I'm putting myself in a position where Warpath can't get a buff, and we don't like that. We could easily see, like, what you call it? The Doc Ock here, and then Galactus, and then Null. I could prevent that, but I don't think that changes too much if I do. Yeah, we'll just play here. See how it goes. So if this Doc Ock is stuff, we probably just need to retreat its arrow, which is fine. And now that turn 4 is done, we'll see the location switch up, and he can not play here until turns, or he can play 6 mana cards. So he can play cards here, but he already had that advantage. I'm not too worried about it. So what I can just do is play Destroyer into this location, or I could if they were protected. Now it's awkward because, you know, what are we really doing with these? Yeah, this is pretty odd now that Plunder Castle's moved. I think we just take the L on this entire run, because at this point you can play Destroyer into armor, but that just kills off 2 cards outside of it. Or I can play Cosmo and play hit here, but then I lose the Warpath, and I lose right. So, yeah, it's ugly no matter how you look at it, to be honest. Okay, so he does have Doc Ock, but he's not playing Galactus. Okay. So all my cards are dead because Destroyer. We'll see what we draw, because he hasn't snapped yet. Hasn't forced anything. So, I'm kind of confused why sometimes the reveal effects don't occur. Is it when he pulls them in, it's not revealed? Because this guy's reveal effect occurred, right? He destroyed my other cards. But Spectrum's reveal effect didn't, because Colossus and Armor didn't get buffed. So I really don't understand what makes a card revealed versus not. Yeah, I'm quite perplexed, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like I should have cards that are buffed right now. Oh well.
Escape.
Can probably Cosmo left. I think that's fine if we get there. But for right now, we can just play into these lanes. I think Warpath probably means I need to rethink how I position my cards. I usually want to do like a light spread. Just like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there on the first 3 turns. In this case, it's definitely not the case because of Warpath. But I think I'm happy with where Lizard is. I don't think the hood, like, destroying the hood isn't even that big of a deal. He's -2, but, like, he's just good food for a destroy deck, so we assume that he's going to be destroyed. But I'm also not playing first this turn anyways. So I think I'm okay with just playing Electro and seeing what happens. He is going to try to destroy these cards on the right, see? So now armoring here is much better. Armoring here, Cosmoing here, what have you. He wanted either one of these to be destroyed by Danger Room, didn't work out that way. But now he's going to be able to play this turn to prevent all that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. For right now, we're okay with armoring up a bit. And even if he does get his... Oh my goodness, that's perfect. Alright, so all that's protected. We're happy with that. He didn't get the Danger Room a single time. So we're going to go ahead and snap that. We have the advantage now that we have basically the chance to place 2 6-mana cards, assuming that we draw Destroyer. If we don't, maybe it's better that we play one of these cards first. He's still playing first, so he's probably going to be playing something on this side. Is it possible he's running like a Destroyer deck? I wouldn't be too surprised, I suppose. Oh well, we have the mana, we might as well play Spectrum on left side. See what happens after that. Killmonger, alright. No big deal. That's why armor's better than Cosmo. And not too bad. I don't mind this at all. It means that if he plays... Yeah, he just has a lot more ground to cover if I play these two. I actually feel comfortable playing this out to the fullest extent. He probably wins left and hopefully loses middle. Yeah, he can definitely spread cards out here. There's definitely things you can do with 6 mana that will let you cover Claw's damage type exactly. And but he has to win. He played really hard into one. Jeez, Danger Room is doing the exact opposite of what he wants it to do, which is pretty funny to me. Killing off Forge and Death and not touching 3 destroy cards is pretty hilarious. But yeah, we're fine. It's an interesting component there. Monster Metropolis, if Nova buffed Killmonger, would have swung the game 3 points in his direction. But yeah, works out. He's just really slow to activate on his destroy cards. He had Killmonger and all that, but like it seemed like he wanted to play every single card. He just wasn't getting like Carnage out. If it's in the bottom half of his deck and he doesn't draw it out, then he's basically just stacking up a bunch of cards that aren't gonna play. I think Lizard, Electro, Professor X on left feels really good, but I could do it on right as well, and there's nothing wrong with that. I should probably wait and see what this location is while we're snapping, but assuming it's not something that will completely obliterate me, I'm pretty happy. Some Oscorp towers, that kind of thing. Xandar's perfectly fine. We're down with that. So we Professor X, we destroy, or we win. Like, no problem at all. We even get to claw before the destroyer? Oh, that's perfect. I do not see a win condition for him other than dropping Infinite, and even then Claw Destroyer is better than Infinite, right? It's just lucky that Wakanda came out here so that we can guarantee that Claw doesn't get destroyed. She doesn't even get to spawn her guy because she plays after me. And yeah, we're golden. I think playing Wave in a Zabu deck would be pretty interesting, right? Because it takes everything to 4, which then theoretically takes everything down to 2. And you get the benefit of other people can't play Plunder Castle. So, yeah, I'm curious how that all works out, but here we get an easy one. Infinite's a nice card. Claw's a little bit more helpful, though. Not bad at all. Gotta also watch carefully if they're not playing anything on turn 5, because that would, if I didn't have Claw there, that means I should play Destroyer on left instead. What do we have here? The Bugle has found a lizard. Might end up mean that we swap lizards across the table, but it also could mean he got Warpath or Colossus. Imagine some lizards are gonna come out this turn. Play his, just to spook him. Consider him spooked. I feel like the smoke is like trying to turn into shapes here, like a squirrel or something on the window. I don't know. Not important at all. Now we go for the secret lizard. Interesting thing is Destroyer will not destroy cards that have not revealed. So there is some value in just kind of holding as many cards as we can in here. Titan also allows us to play Spectrum in that location. So I like that idea a lot. We just Warpath, we Spectrum, we Destroyer. This lizard dies, everything else survives. It's amazing. And then you could Cosmo it, for sure, and that'll stop the Spectrum component, but the other components should be fine. I could see him doing like Professor X on left, and that makes it a little bit harder. Yeah, so he breaks Warpath with Professor X left, no big deal. That opens up Spectrum middle. But now all he just has to do is play hard middle, and if he plays 5 damage on middle lane, I'm toast, right? So this might be a retreat, actually. I'm trying to think of how easy it is to get him... Like, if he just even Spectrum's middle at this point, he wins, right? And that's clearly the kind of deck he's running. So, yeah, I'm comfortable with the idea of retreating here. I like my setup a lot, but at the end of the day, damage on board, 10 versus 15. He does not have a lot of ground to cover in order to win out mid. Escape. So, would it be, how different would it be if I played something like Claw on the left side? Then I would have prevented the Professor X. If he's playing Warpath, I have to expect he's going to do something like that, right? He sees me stacking right and all that. Yeah, hard call. Cosmo left on turn 3. I think that's pretty solid. Warpath is a weird play, because it's... With Sinister London, it's almost guaranteed we're not going to be able to get his value. It's still 5 damage. I think he's just filling things up. That's kind of weird. I'll go ahead and block it off. We're not playing first, so I'm not going to snap. It's not really a surprise turn of events for me to Cosmo 1 turn late. Yeah, now Warpath is ineffective, and Electro wouldn't help all that much either. Like, if we Electro, it unlocks the possibility of top decking 2 6-drop cards, but it's pretty limited. Pretty limited indeed. Still, double Destroyer would feel pretty good, but I feel like that's the case regardless. Trying to get Mr. Fantastic in middle. I think that makes sense. I'm also thinking he might try to go, if he's running armor, he might try to go Professor X on London, but he's also running Sentinel, which is kind of weird. Ends up getting a claw for himself, which feels like it's worth a shot to play. Yeah, worst case it lands on right side. And if it lands in middle, then it's just like plus 20 damage, which is pretty solid. And still, no matter what I draw, it's either... Well, I guess I've got these 6. I didn't really think about Lechugila or whatever. That's actually a big problem, because if I draw a rock here, then I'm losing out on a lot of damage. And we draw the rock. Yeah, so that's bad. If I hadn't played here at all with either of these cards, instead of putting 6 of these cards in my deck, then I'd definitely have either Spectrum, which activates twice, or Destroyer. Instead, I'm sitting here with 2 rocks in hand. So I think just playing here at all in any context is probably a huge mistake. But you live and learn. Escape. Do not like that situation. Not at all. And then the double dinosaur, of course, is a pretty big problem too. Yeah, it looks like Ant-Man's the only 1 drop that I'm running. That's okay. Go ahead and just play to the fog like usual. Colossus 3 cost. Doesn't feel great. And more rocks. It makes it a little less likely we're going to be able to play Destroyer. We have one of 3 activators. We have Armor. We have Professor X. This will block off the deaths of the cards the Destroyer would otherwise destroy. And then Cosmo prevents the reveal effect regardless, but you can't combo them at Plunder Castle, so that's a bit of a problem. Anyways, Fantastic is definitely the preferred play. We can also Claw here, even if Daredevil sees it. I feel pretty good about that. And he's going to Goose on left, which does limit a little bit what cards we can play there. Don't think this really changes anything. +1 mana. Not a big deal. If I play here, it's at least feeding Ant-Man, but at that point you just want to go Colossus, right? The problem is, again, neither of these will actually protect these cards. But yeah, let's just go ahead with this. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll play into here and just see what happens next turn. If he snaps, though, we're probably out. Because we really can't play anything here in terms of, like, we can't play Destroyer this game at all, it feels like. Because all 4 of these, or well, 3 of these 4 cards would just be destroyed, so that's a loss in of itself. I like Goose. I think that it's a lot more effective than a lot of people believe. Spectrum works out. Ends up getting the draw that we want. Since it's too late for Armor, Cosmo, or Professor X to help us out, Spectrum ends up being the play. And getting this to 13, I mean, we're only 3 up, so this just gives it +5. But it already feels like his deck is really not designed for that. He could play, whatchamacallit, Ultron here, and I think that would be okay. That would win him the game. But Spectrum's just going to +8 everything. He's doing a Cerebro deck. And Mystique as well. Gonna make it very close. But we take the win, thanks to Spectrum. Victory. Not bad, not bad. Cerebro... So this guy's usually 3 damage, this guy's usually 2. But because Blue Marvel buffs all the 2, yeah, so that's the thing with Cerebro 2, is it can become Cerebro 3 with Blue Marvel, which is really nice. And that means that you're looking at a lot more potential damage. You're looking at 7 damage cards times 4, you're looking at like 28 damage per lane potentially. So if you get all 3 of those cards. So yeah, if you had like a Mr. Sinister down somewhere and he didn't have to play Mystique mid, then I think there's more potential there. Well, I'm not gonna back off just on that alone. Obviously it's happy to get some mana, but I think there's plenty of options here for how this plays out. It'd be great if the rocks showed up, the mines. It'd be really nice. But it's gonna be Plunder Castle instead. And we'll go ahead and just... I don't know, do we really need that much mana? I think it's better just to Cosmo it personally. See what happens there. Because he doesn't want to play left, and now I don't care about reveal effects. He clearly does. He's playing Mr. Negative deck, so I'm pretty happy about that. He's already committed 2 cubes into the fight, so regardless of what happens next, looking pretty good. The question is, how much Warpath value do we get? Because we're kind of thinking about clawing left. We don't want to claw right, because it's the right lane, doesn't help anything, and we can't claw middle because it's Plunder Castle. So, not too sure. I don't actually know if I want to snap, but we'll watch closely and see what happens. Mr. Negative. Oh, so that's why he's happy, is because he gets the extra mana so he can Mr. Negative early. But now he doesn't have the extra mana. I guess it's fine, though, because 0 cost Iron Man and 0 cost Mystique are still absolutely busted. So, yeah. I guess Mystique has to play left. Iron Man plays right, potentially for 5 extra damage. It's pretty ugly from there. I will say, though, unless something did 6 damage, it can't be played at Plunder Castle. So I'm actually curious what that opens up. What cards do 6 damage that can now be played at Plunder Castle, and do I care? I mean, none of them are going to be able to do more than 6 damage, though, right? Like, if it's 6/6 that swaps around, that's the highest damage you can go. So I don't actually think anything goes to Plunder Castle. I think it's just going to be Iron Man stuff on the left and right. So, if that's the case... we just build up these lanes as much as possible, I would say. We'll see. It's awkward. A little awkward. It would be great if I got Destroyer, actually. It would be so nice. Yeah, you get one more draw from the deck on... Okay, that's awkward. It happens twice? Why would he do that? It's just because it's 6 damage. That's kind of weird. Yeah, so he Iron Man Mystique. So he has to play Mystique here. He has to play Arnim Zola here because it costs 0. And then he just double flips the stuff. I think he wanted the Ironheart to hit so he could get the double reveal there. But we do this and we win, so. I don't care what you're dropping. This is going to be way too much damage. And he's not playing mid because, again, 6 cost cards cost 0, 0 cost cards cost 6. So, like, there's nothing that you would play at Plunder Castle that does anything. Yep. No problem at all. So, perfect top deck with Destroyer. Maybe got a little lucky there, but even if I didn't have the 16 damage, or 18 damage, I would still be looking alright. I would have 22 instead of 24. So as long as I do at least 2 damage with this, or 3 damage with this card slot, I think I win. Yeah, no big deal. I think that in general that this Mr. Negative doesn't work for featured at all. I mean, I can scan through the collection a little bit and take a look at what does 6 damage. If there's like a crazy good reveal effect that does 6 damage, then cool. But I don't think it really opens up anything. I'm not filtering anything. Just quick little glance here. Because it would be 6 damage goes to 6 mana. So like Hela's fine, but is the exact same card if she wasn't Mr. Negative. So it's not really giving you an advantage. So I feel like if you're playing Mr. Negative, you're actually ignoring the featured location and just playing for the other 2. Which is pretty bad, gotta say. Like, I guess you could Doctor Doom and for 5 mana and get some damage in there that way, but generally speaking, you just have to ignore the location. There's nothing you can do. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Maybe there's... and I guess I could also switch to Unowned specifically, but... yeah, to my knowledge, that's just a bad deck for this feed location. Hellcow. You can play a Hellcow at there for 4 damage and 2 discards. It's not really good. Rock Slide. Yeah, everything that does 6 damage is not a card you want to be playing somewhere, so... yeah. I'm digging a little too deep here to try to figure out what this guy's plan was, but apparently the plan is ignore one of the 3 lanes in every game, or in 40% of the games. And just guess the guy really likes negative. But we'll keep it positive here. Take the cubes and move on to the next one. Rocks. You just have to remember the rocks affect him as much as they affect you, so hopefully we can skirt around it a little bit. Electro's not going to be seeing too much play. Or is it? I've completely changed my mind. Electro's great here. That's fantastic. Alright, yeah, I think it's still worth armoring over Lizard. Okay, so no card draw on either turn. because Triskelion comes out, it shows before the card draw comes through, and now Widow's Bite comes through and prevents it as well. So it's kind of ugly. If this wasn't from Triskelion, if this was like part of a Darkhawk deck, then that would be 2 card draws that I missed. But as it stands, it's not too bad. So we could do the full She-Hulk. We just play 1 more card on turn 4, and we pass on turn 5, and double play on turn 6. It's great. Infinite goes here, She-Hulk goes somewhere else. It's wonderful. Do I just want to Electro next turn? Gives me more cards to play that way. Because there's no rush to play Electro right now, I would say. It actually prevents me from playing more cards. So I'll do that. Interesting, so we don't get to see what he played. But it can't be worth very much. That was just 4 mana turn. Okay. Do I want to play the rock? Nah, it just kind of gives him more information if I do that. It's pointless. Oh, I'm an idiot. You can't infinite She-Hulk with... Okay, so if I was going to do that, I should have Electroed. Okay. I just realized that Electro doesn't work with that combo because you can only play 1 card per turn, so you can't play Electro She-Hulk together. That's entirely the basis of one of my decks, is that you can't do that. And then I tried to do it anyways. So that's not ideal. As well, I actually can't play She-Hulk there next turn. I can't play Infinite there next turn. I'm actually toast. Like, there's not much we can do here. Other than hope that he doesn't play Plunder Castle at all, which is unlikely, I would say. So he just passed, which actually means he's playing Infinite here. We actually won this? That's crazy. That's wild. He could play Infinite somewhere else, right? But if I played this, at the very least we're tying. I don't want to go to tiebreaker, though. Yeah, so we'll just let him play Infinite here. And then we'll play, like, She-Hulk left. Is this better than She-Hulk? So, we're not going to be winning. The She-Hulk's better. Yeah, so Infinite drops, we win left, and should win middle. There was only a couple mana spent in there. Yeah, Squirrel Girl's not going to cut it. Cool. Very happy about that. That works out for me really well. It's funny that I got the Infinite from Triskelion, and he got one. He's just playing it naturally, but we'll take the win. Down with that. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, the first instinct when you look at Plunder Castle is like, oh, Infinite's the strongest 6-drop card. You can only play 1 6-drop card there. I might as well go for an Infinite deck. But when you think about it a bit more, it makes your other lanes a lot weaker. It'll work at, like, the beginning of Pool 3, I think, pretty well. But very quickly it becomes a problem. So we have a few options here. We could Electro Professor X left. We can't do... yeah, we can. And then he has to play middle, he has to play right lane, and then we figure out what happens after that. I could also Electro middle and Professor X left. I'm okay with that too. Yeah, I think that this 4 damage isn't going to make the difference on left lane. He's not comfortable with this setup at all. Okay. Yeah, the only Infinite deck that I think would work is my version that has Psylocke and She-Hulk in, where you can play She-Hulk and Infinite on the same turn, and so you're not losing as much on the other 2 lanes. Or you just really go hard onto one of the 2 lanes and ignore everything else. A little ugly. Don't like Shadowland with ninjas. Doesn't really help my situation here with the lizard. He's buffed a bit, but Yeah, not sure. I could see myself just going with a little bit of Ant-Man Colossus action. I'm feeling good about that. Really wish Onslaught Citadel doubled Electro's effect. I feel like it actually does that for Sandman, which is good for the opponent rather than you. But, you know, this is a lot of damage right here. I'm winning this lane for sure. As the question is really if we can win the right lane. I think we can. Okay. What if we do that? So we do 14 damage, minus 2. We have 12 damage over there. It's definitely possible to lose this, but we're gonna try it. Let's see what happens. Nice. Alright. Let's see who it kills off. Anything but Lizard. And it hits the Colossus. I should have paid attention to what he discarded. I saw it in the peripheral, but I'm not going to make guesses. I think we're good. Regardless, because Spectrum is here to buff everyone. Goodbye. Alrighty. Not bad at all. Yep, so we're climbing up 2.5 ranks already. Not bad. That's at 74 or 75 or something like that. So we'll keep the wins rolling. I think the goal is to play a little faster here. Not think so hard. He loses Wave, I lose Spectrum. Not the best card to lose, but I think we can work around it. Cool thing about Colossus is he does not care about the Bifrost, so I'll be the only person with a card here after turn 4. Which is always nice. And that means that I'm more likely to be able to Professor X that location. But they're also more likely to playing into it. I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to Electro, Professor X, Claw, and then hope I have Destroyer. If I do, cool. And if not, whatever. We'll figure it out. I don't think that's a snap. I don't even have a Destroyer in hand. It's a little overzealous, I'd say. But, you know, we got 3 draws. We got 3 draws of a 6-card deck. It's a 50-50. And snapping over a 50-50 is a good play. It's kind of net neutral if it's a 50-50 win. Of course, this implies he does absolutely nothing with the rest of the game, but, you know. What if he, yeah, if he just, like, plays Professor X there, it hurts my Claw strat, right? But, you know, we'll figure it out. So I can't really do, like, the Ant-Man armor on right, Nidavellir. I think, like, I actually throw Nidavellir if I play Electro. Fortunately, he played it back, but he gets to pull 2 cards into it, so he already gets the extra. Let's see what we get here. Green Goblin's not swapping over, that's a freebie. It's a weird card to play right after Electro, though. You Electro, you have 5 mana, and the only card you play is Green Goblin. Which would have just been in the middle here, because it would have moved. That's kind of weird. Anywho, I think the play is to keep him guessing on right lane and then Destroyer middle. I could also play armor here, which would at least give some viability to this. What it would be plus 8 damage, so forces him to contest it a little bit, right? But he gets a Destroyer into it now. Oh, okay, okay. So we'll do some quick math to see how strong Null is. -3, 6, 15, 14. So if he gets the damage from these cards, he's got like 34 damage from Null, which is pretty good. If it's just Death, if he plays Death Shang-Chi, he can't really because he's playing first. But if it's Null, I auto-lose. We'll mess with it. Chavez Death. Chavez Nova, okay. We'll take that. Alright. See, so there's so many times I lose when I play it out here that I feel bad. I feel like, you know, of course he has null, of course he has death. But the thing is, if you do the math, like, if you have a 1 in 3 chance of winning, you should still stick it out. It's like a guaranteed retreat versus, you know, a chance at winning the prize. So, yeah, we take it. In this case, it's kind of weird. So that's why he has a goblin. He was trying to set up a left lane Electro and then do a setup on the left side. But I ended up stopping that with Professor X, I guess. You could get the early Electro, but in general, Elysium, you feel like you've got so many cards to play around with anyways. So, like, I don't really feel the Electro adds that much value. Does bring Warpath back to normal mana cost. Yeah, like, what does Electro actually accomplish here? He will be 4 damage. He's putting 4 damage on the table, and he's making it so I can only play 1 card per turn. Which would be, like, Warpath, Spectrum, Destroyer, presumably. 2 out of 3. It's not the worst. It's not like I'm passing up that many cards to play. It literally means I can only... There's 1 card I can't play of all the cards that I draw. Right? Or am I wrong? No, I'll have 2 cards in hand at the end of the game. Yeah, I guess we do this. I'm okay with that. So he just Moongirled. He's pretty happy about it. He's playing Polaris, which indicates like a Surfer type of thing. Very curious what he's about to drop. That makes him feel so good. Either way, Professor X is going to stomp all over it, from what I can tell, but, you know, let's see. Oh, Double Devil Dinosaur. Feels pretty smart about that. Feels pretty cool about that. Thing is, I've got plenty of mana to play around with. So now we just get a fresh start over on left lane with Warpath. Get to scare him off a little bit with that. Not that he's gonna retreat, because his name's YOLO Butt Swag, but you know. Okay. So we can't really play Spectrum, because Spectrum middle would negate the Warpath buff. Spectrum left is under Cosmo. But it's still the most damage we can do. So we know that he's going to play another Devil Dinosaur. So he's going to have 11 extra damage on this lane. If he has 11 extra damage on this lane at 17, and we're only doing 14 with this, we're in trouble. Unfortunately, I don't see any way around that. Oh well. Wasted some cubes there for sure. Doing the snapback, a little cocky. But I was hoping for another one of those top decks. Destroyer obviously being a game breaker, but even in that situation, 15 damage wasn't really cutting it, right? So maybe not. I guess Cosmo's there, so Destroyer wouldn't have activated his effect. I could have piggybacked off of his Cosmo to win the game with that one, but it's fine. So interesting, Titan plus the castle. You actually can't play any cards at the castle anymore. It's just unassailable. It's a very weird combo. Yeah, so I'll test it out on turn 6, but I'm almost positive that we're just going to have to Mr. Fantastic Claw and see what happens. But unless he's got a vision, I think that I'm going to be just fine. I hope he stays, because that would allow me to actually see if I'm correct about 6-cost cards. But to my understanding, Titan makes it so there is no such thing as a 6-cost card. So I'm gonna Warpath left, and I'm gonna Claw middle, and then we'll see what happens after that. I think it would be interesting to do this instead. In that case, he gets like, I mean, Jubilee doubled won't matter, right? What's a 4 mana cost card that matters in terms of being doubled? I don't think it changes my play too much. Let's see what happens. Oh, like the Rock Slide kind of stuff. I can see that. Yeah, Rock Slide's cool. None of it affects Plunder Castle. Interesting. So he is winning heavily at this point. Claw won't cut it. We didn't even get a 6 mana cost card to see if it affects the end game there. Unfortunate. Even Claw ×1 wouldn't, like Claw, Mr. Fantastic wouldn't have stopped it. So, and Rescue, I didn't realize Rescue got double buff. She gets +10. That's sweet. Now that's super hard to deal with. And it's just because of Titan that he actually gets that out that early. Basically, 6 mana cost cards are the same, you know, timing as 5 cost cards, and so you can get them out right when X would usually prevent them. Not the end of the world though. Still get some more games in. Probably wrap it up here in another 20 minutes. Warpath is probably the highest burst damage you can really get, other than like Zabu and then 2 4-drops. Weird dynamic though with Destroyer being here is I want to play Warpath and Fantastic in mid. I just Cosmo Destroyer and it's fine, right? Okay. So I either armor here or just Cosmo later, and I think Cosmo later is fine. Okay, he's gonna have to do a lot of discards to catch up with Morbius. Like, what's that? At best, it's like 8 damage. Oh my gosh, yeah, this sucks for him. Yeah, we'll just do this. And this, I suppose. Yeah, he's just gone. Okay. Victory. You know, Jubilee pulling Ghost Rider, Morbius being his play in mid, his last card in mid, kind of weak. Alright, District X comes out, so the only cards we get are Spectrum, Warpath, Lizard, for sure. At least we guarantee a 6 mana card to play in Plunder, but not the best one. We're gonna play right because he wants to stack Ant-Man, and this will disincentivize that. Now he's playing from a deck that he pulls a card from my deck, but I have no idea what it is, so it doesn't really matter. He might as well have just gotten a random card for himself. Ooh, Leader. I like Leader here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to play Leader on left. Assuming that he's playing a lot left. We're going to play Leader on left, assuming that it's going to get some value. Might as well play this right now, at least. Yeah, so we'll let him fill that up. I'm happy to snap it at this point. This is interesting. Random 1 cost card to each location. Does that include her location? I have literally never seen this card played. Doesn't seem bad, but obviously makes us a Warpath. Doesn't function. Not that he would anyways. Warpath was not going to function in the first place. But she's only 2 damage. This guy's 7. The nice thing about Shauna is she makes it so that leader wins middle. Because I play leader left, and my whatever one drop I put there. What if it's the hood, the -1 card? That's not great, right? Yeah, we can try it here. We want to at least keep this open to be able to play in, but I don't really know. Oh, okay. He stops the reveal effects. And that means I can't play leader anymore. Leader cannot go to the left because... yeah, he only copies locations played to the right. So that's ugly. Yeah. I guess we'll just do a little bit of this. One more turn. Yeah, leader is useless this game other than doing 7 damage. That's what leader offers. Do you like onslaught? Maybe it's overkill on left though. Well, wait, he can't play any cards here. He literally can't play cards here, so I don't have to like worry about this suddenly going up in difficulty. I think we'll do this though. I'm confident enough with just Onslaught Warpath on left. That's another +4/+7. Yeah, easy game. Right? I mean, I could be missing something completely, but I think I'm good. So he could buff his 1-cost cards. He could play, he can't play Patriot in middle, right? Yeah, that's the thing, like, there's nothing here that actually powers up right lane. Because it's all of them, it has to be 6-cost. So, we'll just take the snap win. 2 cubes for us. I guess Heimdall is interesting. But even then, that doesn't buff left side, so... all the cursed card locations. Ant-Man and Atlantis is probably one of them. So we're playing Jubilee and Nowhere or Ant-Man and Atlantis. It just feels out of place. Okay. Electro would be pretty good this game. Yeah, Electro, Destroyer as the next 2 draws would be just beautiful. A lot of thinking for turn 2. Where are we gonna put Bucky? Oh, into armor. Unfortunate. Yeah, so we could do a few different things. This would mean that Warpath doesn't work properly if we play Spectrum left. But it's not bad. What if we played Warpath left and then Professor X middle? And then worst case we Spectrum left. I don't know. It's not bad. I mean, we already armored one of the 2 playable locations, so we'll take a snap win on that. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna face that just completely throws us for a loop. So far, nothing special, I would say. I mean, there's occasionally a loss here or there, but I think we've retreated almost out of almost every loss, and that feels pretty good when we can accomplish that. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. We don't really want to play Lizard anywhere else unless we're like saving it for Ant-Man plus Lizard, but it's pretty unlikely. Ugly. Yeah, what do we do? This is really ugly. What I want to see is like armor, and then I can double Destroyer. Or Cosmo, and then I can double Destroyer. But as is, I don't really know. Double Zabu. So nice cheap cards for him. 1 cost, 4 drops. There's the armor, so we're pretty happy about this. I don't think it's snap-worthy, though. He's got a lot of options, and if he just Spider-Mans me on turn 5, I'm screwed, right? Like, it's not good. It's not good at all. So I cannot snap against this deck, unfortunately. I'm pretty snap-happy in general. I would say I snap faster and earlier than most players. There's some people who literally have a guaranteed win on turn 5, and they still don't snap. And I'm just like, what's your problem? But I would say I'm too far the other way, so. Alright, Destroyers are kind of more awkward now, because anything that spawns middle doesn't get Destroyer. I also can't play Claw where I had intended to. So I was really hoping for armor to go right. Claw middle is okay, but he's still going to get destroyed by Destroyer. So I don't really see the point in it. I guess you could say that for both cards though, like no matter what I play. I think he sees the Destroyer. He can definitely see the Spectrum. If I block this off, nobody can play anything but Savage Land, which only benefits him. So I don't think I block it off, and this is my best card I can play. If it's Spider-Man on right, I just lose. Devil Dinosaur ×2. Alright, how are we feeling about this Destroyer? If he plays any cards at all, if he just plays a card here, then he's going to have 19 damage on middle. And Destroyer only does 15 damage on middle. So I'm toast there. What if I just went with the Spectrum? Double Spectrum, a lot of buffs, but over here is just going to do +9. So we're not going to win middle. But +8 over on the left lane, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Is it enough? 1 cost, 4 drops, mind you. But really the only thing we care about is mostly over here. Maybe if he gets Crossbones or something, it can be pretty annoying. Or if he sets up... Oh, he's got 7 cards in hand, so he's not going to set up a really good Dracula. Trying to figure out if this is snap-worthy. I know it's play-worthy. I'm going to play it out. But do I snap it? There's three cards that get buffed twice. There's 2 cards that get buffed twice. I feel comfortable with it. It's not guaranteed for sure, but I think it's slightly above 50%. We'll see what this guy pulls out. Alright, he played 2 cards. Arrow's not going to do anything. Moongirl's just going to buff these dinosaurs. And here comes the Spectrum. Boom. Boom. Win by 1. We'll take it. So, thinking about the tiebreaker, I won this by 12. I lost this by 8. So it's +4 across the board if this is even. So even if he plays 8 mana over here, then it's even. But if he just focuses 9 over there, I guess he wins auto, so. Oh well, not bad. Take a little risk. I would say that was not a clean win, but it was a win. Yeah, I think that's like the thing that I lack in a poker mentality. I want my wins to be too guaranteed. I want to be like, yeah, this will for sure work. I know exactly how this is going to end. It's like, you don't get that in a lot of card games. You don't get that in a lot of like things with variable probability. You play your best, they play their best, and you just kind of see what happens. But yeah, I'm all about these like guaranteed wins, and it's just not coming. Alright. So if I play here, Warpath is useless. And he plays Spider-Man there. That's not great. This is better than Warpath, right? So this does 6 damage on 3 lanes. This does 5 damage here. I have to beware the Spider-Man on turn 5. So I think I Claw left. And then I Spectrum right. I feel pretty good about that. Could do this. I think that's not bad. I should pay more attention to what he just discarded. It didn't discard anything because Cosmo. I was like, I didn't see anything. It's not bad. I feel a little weak because of Sunspot. And, oh, we're swapping card hands. I forgot about that. So he can get Claw. He can get Spectrum. Ooh, okay. What did he get over here? Spider-Man? Dracula. Oh, that's not great because it's still discard from his hand. 5, 5, 5, 4. So it's going to do up to 5 damage on my cards, and then he's got his top deck to think about. I've got 0 discards. I've got his Apocalypse, which I'm happy to play here. He's got a Spectrum, which only buffs Zabu. And the cost of his cards makes it so that it's pretty difficult to accomplish what he wants. Like, if he wants to discard down to the 1 card that he drew that's not 5 damage, then he's going to have to fight for it. He could Claw here, get damage on the right, and then he'll discard to 5. That'll be tiebreaker material. And I don't think I win tiebreaker. I'll win this lane, and I'll get, you know, a tie here, probably. There was a 4-cost card in there, though. I'm just going to see what happens. I'm not sure. That's probably Claw Middle. A Warpath Middle. And then discards Lizard. It's a tiebreaker, and that's his. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Not what we wanted to see. I think I kind of forgot about Mindscape halfway through. I was like on a monologue or something. And yeah, just about like variable mechanics and wins. But yeah, Mindscape's kind of annoying for my deck and for Mindy decks, actually. But I still would have felt good if he just played Spider-Man left. He played Dracula left, which is a big difference. Because I had a guaranteed 5 damage on left lane. I could see that being worth. That'll let us set up Mr. Fantastic and all that, so. Nobody's getting the Altar of Death today. This is a completely blank vanilla location now. What I used to do is actually I would play like a 2-drop and then Professor X Altar of Death, and you really can't hold it. I think I actually had a video on that, never mind. But we get Superflow, and we're pretty happy with that, because we can just Professor X next turn anyways. I guess the question is, which one do we Professor X? The Superflow or the Altar of Death? Interesting. I think we can play Professor X because we've got Claw and Spectrum. We can still play Professor X here, and if it doesn't work out, we can always just use other means of catching up. If he like moves Vision over there, for example, and I have to catch up 4 damage, I've got Claw. And if he just plays something that's only like worth 4 damage, okay, we're good. Oh no, I've been leeched. Lizard's buffed by Leech, I guess. That's kind of cool. Here's the Destroyer. We want to keep the Warpath buff. We're just going to focus on middle. We've got our armor. We've got our Professor X. We're just chilling. Just to make him feel good about himself. No, this make Warpath worth. Well, actually, Destroyer will still destroy it, so it's fine. Oh no, my Warpath buff is gone. What will I do? Actually. Dude, my Warpath buff is gone. What will I do? It's fine. Just sacrifice them to the altar of death. Yeah, this is all. It's all good. Oh, you really did that card. All right, nice win. Nice 4 points. Alrighty. Think we'll just call go till we lose at this point. Don't want this to drag on too long. I know it's not like the most dynamic set of card play, but it's fun to get some wins in and try out the featured location where it does come up. Can't play here. Cards can't be played here. I don't know. Wakanda is definitely nice for my deck in particular, because just takes away the entire negative side of Destroyer. Mr. Maw coming in. That's a really ballsy move to be negating an entire lane when you only have one place to play. Like, don't you just auto lose this if I have Claw or Captain America? Bit awkward, but you know, that's how it be. So yeah, we'll just play left side with Lizard. Why is it highlighting in the middle? You all saw that. There's a rectangle there. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is fine. He's gonna play the pass turn game. But what if I play the you can't play reveal cards here game? Oh no! Alright, GG. Yeah, that guy's kinda bad. I mean, I'm trying to think of what one stuff you run Ebony Maw in. She's like, oh, I want 7 damage on the board because I really only care about this one lane. Maybe a hazmat comp, I don't know. Project Pegasus. I mean, it's gotta be Professor X in the Fog, right? With Colossus as his best friend. And then we snap. Nobody plays in the Fog, right? And if they do, then we claw. We play Claw. It's fine. Got Claw, we got Spectrum. It's a guaranteed lane. What bad could come of this? Snapping on turn 2. Nothing, I say. Nothing. Oh god. She's gonna reveal first. Okay, so does she reveal at all? Because last time she didn't bother. Well, yeah, she does reveal. And we get our Claw on right. Is this just a Galactus game? Like, we can play Galactus. I'm fine with that. Alright, well that's a good start. If he gets Electro, then Galactus, then Null, he's like in a good shape. Do we play this? I don't think so. I think we want like a... Not that. I don't know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the only deck that's going to be playing Doc Ock right now is going to be a Galactus deck, and he probably has it in hand. So he's like, yeah, I don't care what you play on the other lanes. Go for it. And he's just going to play... He can play Galactus and Null at Plunder Castle. Can't play Death, because it's discounted too much, so it's not going to actually be a 6-cost card. But Galactus plus Null is pretty good, because it's going to be like doing 24... 34, yeah, 39 damage. So he's probably going to snap on turn 5 and... Okay. You better Electro this turn. It's awkward. fine with just doing this, I guess. Because I've already used my other 6-drop, so I only have one 6-drop anyways. Electro's not going to do too much here. But then it just comes down to me decking my Destroyer, which is 2 out of 5, unfortunately. Yeah, obviously if he doesn't play at least Psylocke here, if not Electro, then there's nothing to worry about, because he can't play Galactus until his last turn. And that's too late. But yeah. Dude's thinking. He played nothing. Isn't this game impossible now? Ultron is the only thing that could help him. Ultron could make it a tiebreaker game. Heimdall? No. Alright, Ultron tiebreaker, I guess. Still think I win that. Oh, well, he can Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom. Heck, he could Galactus and win. I think it's a very dumb idea, because I could play literally anything and make it happen. Doctor Doom's good. I can appreciate Doctor Doom. Warpath would have beaten it. Why didn't we play Warpath? It came out... This came out on turn 3, right? Do we not have it? Yeah, I think my only options were Electro and Captain... or Mr. Fantastic, but maybe I'm misremembering. No, because we didn't play anything on turn 5 and turn 6, and these were the 2 draws. So, yeah. Unfortunate we didn't have Warpath a turn earlier, because that would have just nailed this. But, yeah, is what is. We said go to we lose. We honored that. We call it a relatively good night of gaming here for the Plunder Castle. We'll probably do some more of these games outside the recording structure. But until next time, thanks for watching, and have a good one.